Easy now, folks. I've got the Hygger's excellent new air diffuser airstone here. I actually did a giveaway for one of these a giveaway draw for one of these in one of the fish groups, and the next day Hygger contacted me saying would I like to try one myself, so I was like, yeah, definitely, thank you very much. Day beyond that and it was already waiting for me when I got home. So the Hg049, is it? 049, sorry, Hg049. Quite cool looking, quite impressed with it already, but since I've got it, I figured we'd have a closer look together, eh? So it comes nicely packaged, which we're beginning to expect from Hygger these days. No excess plastic, I notice, not wrapped in plastic at all. Don't know if that's deliberate, thinking of the environment, but I'd like to think it is. Then there's our beautiful wee new airstone. Shouldn't call it an airstone, no, it's an acrylic disc made out of acrylic and EVA. I've got to start doing dry runs with these things, so I don't embarrass myself when I can't get it out of the box. But that was a good looking check valve that they've included in the kit, and our stunning wee acrylic disc, sorry. And look at the way they've wrapped the air tubing around this kind of cardboard mount, would you call that? It's these wee touches that you get with Hygger these days that I really do appreciate. So it's the largest of the three that they do, 45mm, 60mm and 80mm. They have sent me the largest. Very kind of you guys, thank you. And the first thing I noticed is the weight of it is heavy enough, certainly heavy enough. So if we take it apart, you can see that's down to this weight that they stick in the bottom there, right? What that means is we don't need any suction cups to hold it in place or in position. It's just going to sit wherever we want it to. Like that, so I do. To get into that, it's just a case of unscrewing it, and you can get right inside all the components, which, should you need to clean it at any time, obviously makes life pretty easy. And then you just screw it back together. Ideal. The next thing I noticed was Hygger's logo embossed on the side, but it's not in your face, is it not? It's pretty discreet. It's nice that they branded it with their logo, but also it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb when it's in your tank. And the next thing I noticed was this, look. That's where your airline's going to connect to it. And it's made of metal. Fantastic. Lots of these things, they have plastic attachments which can break quite easily, but this is not going to do that. Right, I missed something that was in the box. See this like metal hook here? And I'm not entirely sure what that is for, so I'm gonna have a wee play around and see if I can figure it out. Maybe it's a mount. Do you know what? Let me have a wee look. Right, I figured it out. I think I figured it out. I looked in the instructions, and they don't even tell you in the instructions, but they refer to it as pliers. So I think what we do is stick it in that wee hole there, and that lets us open the lid off and tighten it again. Pretty sure that's the idea, in which case that's pretty cool too. I like that. If I've got it wrong though, I don't think I've got it wrong. I think that's it. Right, we've got the test tank out, and I've also got a wee Hygger air pump that I reviewed previously. So we're going to use the non-return valve, the check valve that they sent with the kit, and hook this wee air pump up to our acrylic disc. Right, that's attached to the non-return valve, and we'll stick the other end into our wee mini Hygger air pump, which actually came with a neat little cradle, which I thought was quite a sweet idea. You can stick that on your rack or somewhere near your tank, or even on your tank if you need to, which we'll do for the purposes of this video here anyway. Apologies if you can hear the small person in the background. Definitely disagreeing that it's nap time. You be quiet in there, you. Remember Santa's watching. I've been using that one since September. Anyway, that's us getting set up now. I've had to put a light on the tank because it's winter here in Scotland, and that means that the sun comes out at about 11:30 and then wraps it for the day at about 2 o'clock. So it's already getting dark in here. Always get these wee bubbles when you fill a tank, don't you? Because this is the test tank, obviously I put it away. So what I'll do, let me clear this up and we'll come back. Right, we're jamming. We're going to connect the airline to our acrylic disc, and once again, metal connection, fantastic, rather than a cheap plastic one that can easily snap. Loving that wee detail. And we'll drop it in the tank. No, we won't. We'll place it in the tank. Right then, moment of truth. Bit underwhelming, isn't it? That's not right. Right, let me just make sure I haven't tightened it too much. I'll loosen it off a wee turn. Nah, I think it's the air pump. So the air pump might be fine for the smaller version, but for the big one that I've got here, I think we're going to need a more powerful air pump. So let's grab one. Right, we've broken out the Black Shark here, which is a much more powerful air pump. It is a two-pronged, two-outlet air pump though, so we're going to need to block off one of the channels, which is easy enough. We'll just grab ourselves a piece of airline and tie a knot in it. Right, easy peasy. Stick that on one of the channels, and then for the other one we will connect it to our Hg049. See what difference it makes. See that in the background? Look, right away you can tell a difference, can't you? Right away. Oh, that's better. Don't know if it's quite what I was expecting though, so let's do a couple of the usual checks, right? Okay, right, first of all, let's make sure we've turned the air pump up, because this has a dial on the back. There we go. There we go. That's what we're wanting. Pretty, isn't it? I like the way the bubbles come out of that. I like the kind of wider dispersal than you get with a traditional air stone, shall we say. I think it looks really good. I really, really do. And look at the surface tension. That's going to allow for plenty of air exchange, by the way. Obviously, it's probably not... Well, probably a bit too much for a tank this size. Probably for a bigger tank, this larger model. But don't forget you've got the two smaller ones for tanks this size as well. But yeah, look at that. Ah, I think this is magic. Yeah, this is definitely going to be going into my big dual Rio as soon as I've done this video. Thanks, Hygger, man. Thanks for giving the opportunity to try this and play about with it, and you know, obviously sending it to me. I'm delighted with it, man. I think it's great. I do notice the bubbles aren't coming out exactly even. I think that's maybe... I don't know if you need to let it sit in the water for a bit or what. Tell you what, I'm going to take it out, give it a bit of a tighten up, and then we'll see what it looks like. There we go. What I did was I loosened it off. I was thinking maybe it was too tight and I was strangling it, but it turns out it's the complete opposite. I tightened it as much as I could hand tight, being careful I wasn't going to snap anything, but it stood up anyway. And that's the way to go. Look, bubbles are coming out evenly now, and I feel like they're smaller too. It's kind of diffused them a wee bit better as well, which I think it looks fantastic. I think it looks great. I had a wee go of standing it up on its end behind that wee rock, and it did work fine. It was, you know, you get lots and lots of air coming out. Well, the same amount, the same amount of air, obviously. So you could stand it up on its side if you wanted to, but why would you, man? It's so pretty the way those bubbles come out of there, and that kind of wide spread that I mentioned earlier. I think laying flat is definitely the way to go. Right, let's talk about the price, right? So the 45mm is $17.99, the 60 is $20.99, and the 80 is $23.99. Some people might consider that a luxury option, a luxury item in terms of an air stone, but first of all, it's as cool as anything air stone. Secondly, you've got all the extra wee bits that come with it, and when you divide that down, it's not even £2 a month you'd have paid. Not even 50p a week. And this thing I think is going to last for a good long time. They say that it never ever clogs, so low on the maintenance too. And for me, if you've got a fish keeper in your life and you know they run air, I think that would be a nice wee gift for somebody. I really do. I think a fish keeper would appreciate an item like this. Well, I appreciate it. I feel like it's far superior to like your traditional air stones. It's a similar concept to these kind of Hygger ones where you've got the wee foam part in the middle which kind of diffuses the bubbles, but when I used these they seem to get clogged very quickly. I didn't really like them, if I'm honest. But I don't think you're going to have that issue with these. The other thing, of course, is with the Hygger kind of ones, you need to stick them on the side of the tank with the suction cup. But with these Hg049s, they just sink to the bottom of your tank, so pretty easy to use as well, eh? They're kind of easy to disguise as well. With the clear acrylic look to them, they kind of blend in. They don't stand out like a sore thumb. And if I just grab even a small bit of wood like this, just placed in front, you can see it pretty much disappears. You can tell, placed in the back of your tank behind your plants or a bit of ornament, a bit of scape, it's going to be pretty inconspicuous, except for the gorgeous flow of bubbles coming out of it. If you're going to use it in the corner of your aquarium, you can always use a suction cup airline clip to hold the airline in place, but the flow of the bubbles obscures that anyway, doesn't it? It does a really good job. So to sum it up, I love it. I think you can tell that. I like the clever weighted design. I like the way it looks, even though you're probably gonna obscure it. I like the wide burst pattern for the bubbles. I think the workmanship, I think the build design is fantastic. I really am impressed with this. Oh, mind the camera. I like the clever way it's got the metal attachment, which isn't going to break in time, and that you can unscrew it to take it apart and clean it should you need to, but not anticipating doing that too much. I think they've made a really nice airstone, acrylic disc air diffuser. I am grateful to the guys at Hygger that they offered to send one out to me to give it a test and show it to you guys, because hopefully that's giving you an idea of it, and if you're on the fence whether to get one or not, hopefully my video has helped. But yeah, had I not been sent one, I would definitely be buy one, and might even buy a couple more for other tanks. So that's me, I'm out. Later.